So we're back on the 73 MGB. We got some parts and we're going to try to see if we can finish up all the little electrical issues today. So here's the switch we took out of the car. Like I said, it is an aftermarket newer switch. We may or may not have put it in 2 years ago. I looked back at when we did the video and it's been a little more than 2 years ago. So even if we had put this in, it wouldn't be under warranty anymore. So it doesn't really matter if I put it in or not because I can't warranty it for them. But when you get in here, where the headlight wire comes in here, or the power comes in through this rivet here, we got power on this terminal here. It's just not transferring to the rivet itself, so we get no power coming down through here to be able to go up to the headlights. And there's not really any good fix for that, so new switch it is. But one of the things is when you put these new switches in there, they're not making them the way they used to make them. You see here, when you bolt the plate on here that holds it, this has to go on there first, and then the other switch for the turn or the wipers go on next. But when you see this, you got a bolt that goes through here and through here. Well, then there's a bolt that goes through here and here to hold the other switch on. Now, it is far enough away that the head can sit underneath there, but you can't hardly get to it with a screwdriver. Here's the original ones. They had a big taper here, so you could get a screwdriver in there. And the aftermarket ones for a long time used to have a little half moon cutout here. They don't anymore. So it helps if you take a file and kind of take the corner of this off and bevel it a little bit, so then you can get the screwdriver in there to actually tighten the other switch. Now, I've already got all this screwed on to the steering column here, but you can see here there's this much distance here between the two switches. But I beveled this a little bit, and you can see that that allows me to get my screwdriver in here and actually tighten that. That's just a little helpful hint of the day there. So now that I got the column switches installed, it's time to move it back up to the headlights and actually get these installed properly, so we make sure everything's working properly before we put the steering column and everything back together. So there was some concern in the comment sections of the last video about running the daytime running light all the time, even when the headlights are on. And the proper way to run them is that they come on with ignition and then they go off when you turn the headlights on. Now you can get a daytime running light module that you can wire everything into and make it all work properly. Or I guess there is a way you can run a relay system to do it too. But the owner of the car just said, just hook them to the marker lights and stop right there. He doesn't drive it very often at night, and he thinks it's going to be just fine. And it can't be any worse than the way these things were installed in blinding oncoming traffic anyway. So that's what we're going to do. So in the original wiring on these old British cars, the collars were always the same. Lucas provided all the wiring, and whether it was a Triumph, Jag, Austin Healey, MG, whatever it was, all the wire collars will be the same. So marker lights will be red. So we're going to go ahead and repurpose that red wire that they had going to the horns on this thing for the daytime running lights. Now, one thing I forgot to mention in the last video was when these were hooked up to the horn, this is only an 18 gauge wire. That isn't a heavy enough gauge wire either for the horns, because the originals I think were 14 gauge, but this will be more than enough to handle the LEDs in here. Now for the turn signals, the turn signal circuits were always red, or green, I mean, with red tracer, and then green with white tracers. Now, we could just run green wire out, because usually at that connector, out to the lights, it's green only on all these cars anyway. But I just happen to have these 2 lengths of wire laying in the cabinet, so we're going to use these. I cut this stuff out of wiring harnesses when I'm doing brand new harnesses, just for projects like this. In order to install them, we're going to go ahead and drill some little holes in the sides of the buckets rather than trying to go through the original grommets. Because without taking the whole bucket out of the car and carefully trying to drill through there and string the wires through there, I don't want to risk damaging the headlight wires. And of course, this car never sees rain, so it won't be a problem. And even then, we're going to go ahead and put a grommet in there. This is a 5/16 grommet. It's big enough for 2 wires to pass through. And once we get it all set up with enough slack in there to do what we need to do, we'll go ahead and put a little silicone around the wires, and it should be just fine. And then we'll take a step drill bit and drill into the 3rd step, which is 5/16. And then to hook to here, we got some spade connectors. And then we got some bullets to put on the other ends of the wires once we get everything kind of in place. And to crimp these are crimp-on ones, and I got my crimper here. Yeah, it's broken. It doesn't ratchet anymore, but it still works. I'm actually thinking about getting the new ones because they've obviously changed something in these, and this old school one here tends to break these things sometimes, and new ones may or may not do that anymore. But then we're going to put all new sleeves on there. The red circuit would already have 4-ways on it, but we're going to put new ones on. Now the green will only have a single sleeve, which is a 2-way, and we're going to have to switch to a 4-way. And then we got our installation tool. Now we can get over to the car and start putting it together. So we'll find a spot right up in here somewhere close to this grommet, going to the inside here where we can get the drill in here and work. I'm going to go ahead and use this as a pilot because it's a brand new bit, and I know the very end of this is starting to get a little dull. Once I break through, then we'll go to the step drill bit. Now we just need to install the O-ring and then, or the grommet, and then do the same thing on the other side. So now we can just run our 2 wires up through here. We can give them just about the same amount of slack as these wires here. And then that's where we'll silicone them. Just about like that. Put a little silicone around here, and then we can get underneath there and then string them through the hole in the fender well here. And do the same thing again to the other side. So now we've got the wires run up through here. We can look at how long the wires need to be to naturally hang with about the same amount of slack as everything else going to these 2 connectors here. Cut them off to length, and then we can pull it up here and crimp our bolts on. So now if you get a sleeve like this that doesn't want to pull off, don't just yank on it, because you'll probably just pull the bullet right off the end of the wire. You can just take a pair of side cuts or even a knife and just trim off the rubber, and then you can turn it here and just get in there with a small screwdriver and just open it up, pull it right off. Since we're getting rid of that thing anyway, we don't need it. So now we want to come in here and clean these with a stainless wire brush before we start reconnecting everything. Now some people like to put a little bit of dielectric grease down in here these days. If you're going to be driving your car where you think you're going to be getting into some rain on any kind of regular basis, that might be a good idea. Now, they never did it from the factory, and they lasted many years without doing that. And in this case here, he never drives this thing in the rain because he almost hardly ever has the top even on it. We'd probably be fine getting away with not even doing that at all. So we got the 2 red wires from the harness on this side going into the one side here. They can be a little tight to get in there initially, especially on new sleeves and with new bullets. And then, where's my tool at here? So you got this handy dandy little tool here that works really nice. You just go in here and just go whoop, and that puts them all in there nice and neat and tidy like. So we just connect the green wires on this side, both wires on this side, and we should be ready to actually then put the headlights in. Okay. So when I actually went to put the lights in proper, now that we've got them going in there and everything's sitting the way they're supposed to be sitting, they're not sitting the way they're supposed to be sitting. All my research shows that the lights should be sitting straight up and down with the big reflector at the bottom, the small one at the top. But there's no way that these lights will install that way no matter how you turn the buckets, no matter what you do with them. Now the buckets are supposed to be installed just like this screw up and this one on this side, and we're talking standard headlights. It doesn't matter what you're dealing with. It could be a 66 Mustang, could be an MG, it could be anything with 7-inch headlights. As long as it's a 7014 or a 7024 light, that's how they fit, and that's the only thing you can do with them. But these things end up sitting at about 120 degrees off here, this angle here. Now, the Magnet is getting a set of these headlights too, a similar set. So we went ahead and got those out and double checked those against these, and we think these were actually manufactured incorrectly. Don't know where he got them from. He must have got a heck of a deal on them because they were probably blowing them out because they were all screwed up. Because we can't put them in at this angle. It will not spread the light right. But what we can do is 2 of these notches will line up to here and here to let this thing actually sit straight up and down. So what I did was I just relieved another notch into here so that they will fit straight up and down, and problem solved, because I think he's had these long enough he can't send them back and get his money back. So one of the other little problems we're having is once we get this in here, it's loose. This isn't tightening it up enough. I've noticed that a lot on newer headlights, like they're making all this a little thinner than they used to be, and then they rattle inside the buckets. One of the things you can do is you can just take several layers of electrical tape here and put it right on those notches there where it sits against here, and take up that space so that it sits in there nice and tight and doesn't rattle around anymore. So that's what we're going to do. Just have to see how many layers it takes to actually take up the space. Well, probably a lot more than 2. These are the loosest ones I've ever put in. State of the automotive aftermarket these days. Isn't it wonderful? You gotta spend so much time making stuff fit, making it work. It's almost not worth it anymore. That's part of the reason why so many mechanics are getting out of it, and it's so hard to find good mechanics anymore. So it doesn't matter what you're working with. Doesn't matter what brand of cars you're working with. Doesn't matter what parts you're working with. There's problems all over the industry right now. Problem is, you can buy what you think is a really good high-end brand, and it could be the same Chinese junk in the box. You just paid a lot more for it. All right, I think that's going to finally do it there. So now, put the screws in here. Of course, this one had the rock guards on it. All right, of course, we got a bad adjuster up here, but I don't have any to replace it right now. And once it's in place, it'll be fine. It's just when you're screwing around with it, it's wanting to pop a little bit. So now when we get to the other side, do all the same stuff over there, and then we'll come back and show you these in action. So now we got the headlights. This would be just daytime running lights, headlights on, and we got high and low beam. And we got turn signals with the headlights on. And then turn signals, the headlights off.